Can we shelve the movie Hackers
No,
for next
let's talk
next
about the
episode?
movie. We're talking about the
Hackers?
movie
How
and
long
picking
is it
another
going to
one.
take to talk about Hackers?
Okay,
Right?
okay.
Everybody has seen it already.
That's true.
All-star cast.
L goes first. L, what do you think?
Jolie is you.
I know how to
Early
use a pause
Jolie
button.
is probably all the stars you need.
Especially if you know how to use the pause button.
This was before all the plastic surgery too.
And you can tell.
Yep.
Well, y'all hurry up and get it over with.
Mord had to get his Mord's switching over.
Honky, give the synopsis.
Oh, me? Okay. So a kid, the movie starts off with a kid being arrested for hacking. They made they want to make an example out of him, so they told him he couldn't. He was 7 years old, and they told him he couldn't touch a computer till he was 18. And I don't know, he was 9 years old because it was 7 years have passed, I think. Something
So
like that.
11. He was 11.
11, that's right. That makes more sense.
And
11 years old.
He
couldn't touch a computer till he was 18, right?
He
He was
crashed
18.
1,507 systems.
Which was fantastic that they went in there guns blazing for a kid on the computer. They broke down a door. Everyone had guns, like somebody was going to pop out and somebody was going to start shooting for an 11-year-old kid. Yes, for an 11-year-old, which always baffles me. Every time that they had the Secret Service, which I always thought was weird that the Secret Service was dealing with this, not like the FBI, but every time they went after a hacker, it was with guns, lots of guns. Like they couldn't just walk up and go, "Hey, buddy, yeah, just come with us."
Right. Let's pull out the big guns for a bunch of nerds.
Yeah. So the kid couldn't use his computer for a long time, and then once he finally goes back on it, the world has changed. There's a lot more hackers out there in the world, and so he starts going back into hacking, and he meets other hackers, and they. One of them is an aspiring hacker, a younger kid who gets into a server. I think doesn't. He starts. These guys are just dialing random numbers. So he dials a random number, gets into this server, and wants to prove that to other people that he was able to do it. And he starts copying stuff out of a junk folder. Apparently, that junk folder had a virus in it that.
I'm going to stop you there because you made a mistake. The first time he cracked into something, it was a bank, and that was the random one. And they told him he couldn't do that anymore, and they were talking about Gibsons, and Gibsons are the computers that everybody, wants to be known for hacking, blah, 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 big security. And so he hacked a Gibson and copied a garbage file in order to prove that he had hacked the Gibson to his cool hacker friends.
Right.
And
All
it
from his
happened to
home.
be happened to be a worm, not a virus at that point. The worm gets explained later, though. Okay, continue.
All right. So the person who does the security for that company that has the Gibson that got hacked is the one who created the worm and is worried about the fact that this kid stole part of that information or copied stuff off of that garbage folder because that's where he kept the worm. And so he gets the Secret Service involved and tells them that he creates another virus or worm that
He creates a virus
that called a Da Vinci virus to sink some tankers that are involved with that the company are involed with
Ellington
and Oil. So he tanks. He flips one of them, doesn't he?
It was an empty tanker.
It was an empty tanker, but it does tip over.
Yeah,
and so he to help him find the people who hacked into his system, he sicks the Secret Service on them to by saying that they're the ones who created that virus, and so then they're trying to get away from the Secret Service coming after them, and there's also a little side story where the kid who was arrested and then a long time ago, and then gets into a war with a girl who's a hacker, a local girl who's a hacker, who they start a bet on who can screw with the head of the guy heading up the
Secret Service
Service task force against hacking. Who can fuck with him the most? So that there's a side story about the bet going on with that, and then they have to basically do what they can to prove that they're not the ones who created the Da Vinci virus by figuring out what was in that garbage folder, and then trying to prove that it was somebody else, or at least show that it isn't them, so they can.
They announced to the world the nasty, evil corporate nasty who's trying to do all this.
At the end.
Yeah, that's basically what we're at.
Yeah, they get help from these other hackers and hackers around the world that like to crack into TV stations.
Hackers of the world, unite!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun movie. There is some realism to it. There is a lot of Hollywood stuff to it to make hacking look interesting, because it's difficult to make hacking look interesting. But I do appreciate the fact that they talk about, like,
risk,
different types of ways that that people use to freak, like phone calls and stuff like that. Basically, what hacking they talk about. Basically, what hacking is. I mean, when he the first thing he does when he gets his he's finally able to use a computer again, is he calls up the television station, and he convinces the guy to basically socially engineers a guy to give him the information, the address, the phone number to crack into the television station's system. And that's half of what, I mean, you listen to Kevin Mitnick, that's half of what they do, is just they learn some of the speak, how to talk like guys who work on phone lines and stuff like that. And that using that, they call other places, convincing them that they actually work for the phone company or whatever. And that's how they convince the guy to give them the information to get onto the system. 90% of hacking is fucking social engineering and B&E.
Right. And how they got all the passwords to be able to do the final hack at the end, where they were trying to get the rest of the worm, which they had found out was stealing the leftover portions of each transaction, a couple of cents here, a couple of cents there, until it was worth several $1 million or whatever, was by one guy walking around who had an eidetic memory that was memorizing people's passwords as they were typing them in, and then also
Lord Nikon,
yeah. by the dumpster diving,
right,
and et cetera, and so they finish the hack. They get arrested, all of them except for serial killer, played by Matthew Lillard, and they get the information out there, and then, the people that actually did it get arrested and go out on dates, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's happy. The end.
Right.
So Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie, Matthew Lillard, just on and on with the great people in this freaking movie. So it's cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
But it's good.
So does this 30-year-old movie hold up today, as far as in the tech scene?
Oh, wait. You mean in the tech scene? A lot of the things that they did in the movie still hold up today as far as hacking, like socially engineering and stuff. But outside of that...
No, the visualizations never held up. They were never going to hold up.
Right.
it's still decent CGI, especially for the time. But I will say that the technology that they actually verbalized, were talking about, other than that hacking scene there at the end, there was some abstraction there that was actually decent, but the visualizations were still shoddy. But talking about like risk architecture and just the different things that were actually going on at the time, I think it did pretty well.
Risk is good.
Freaking.
Risk is good.
A lot of the phone freaking stuff was stuff that was really big at that time. Yeah.
Oh, to give you, when I was hanging around Building 20, and this was when the ARPANET was still the ARPANET and not open to many people. One guy at one of their computer clubs was on the internet, and he found Jerry Purnell, the computer writer for Byte magazine and whatnot. He was on AI or one of their machines, and somebody said, somebody wanted to do something nasty with him, and somebody said, not on my account. Because evidently, Jerry Purnell had gotten an ARPA, an AI account or something with internet access, because he was Jerry Purnell, when most people couldn't really get that level of access.
One thing you guys haven't talked about is it's got a pretty damn cool soundtrack.
It does. A lot of electronica.
Absolutely.
Really cool, like older Prodigy stuff, Orbital, things like that. That I don't think,
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, that weren't being put in movies really at the time, Cool stuff.
I thought that really brought Rage Against the Machine into the spotlight, didn't it? That was their first real out there foray.
Maybe so.
Don't know.
Was 1990.